Hi, this is Ashwin and you're watching me on Good Times.
So with me is one of the co-writers of India's memorable victory in Australia. So now if you were to recap, what comes to mind?
Now the documentary comes to my mind, Bandon Mein Tha Dum. And obviously I think if I look back at the series, it was right in the middle of the pandemic, right? And we hadn't played cricket for a long time and we had just finished the IPL in Dubai, heading to Australia. Personally, I wasn't very sure if I was going to start the series because Jadeja was the front runner to start the series. I was a little on the fringes and I wasn't sure where I was going with my career itself personally, and for a lot of reasons, and the pandemic was so on. It was very unsure on most people. And if that's the first memory that comes back to me. But the one thing that I told myself was, when I go back from here, I will have an answer concrete either way. So I was very sure if it didn't go my way, I would put my hand up first and say it didn't go my way, I'm not good enough. And if it did, I wanted to make it the way it ended. So yeah, so glad it ended the right way.
Exactly. And
not all stories end with good climax, but yeah.
This one ended really well, and many more to come. So a young fan has asked, what was going on in your mind when you arrived for the Sydney test?
So it was very interesting, right? So we were told clearly that we will do 14 days quarantine when we went into Australia. The rule was very clear. As far as I'm concerned, you give me a rule, this is what it is. Even if it is hard, I'm happy to abide by it. I'm not the one who will complain and all that. But it was a 14-day quarantine. Me, my wife, and the kids, we were all stuck in the same room. Hard quarantine, by the way, and it's not one of those soft ones now. So we were put up in a hotel and we were there. And we spent the 14 days very hard on the children and the wife because we were allowed to go for practice after 7 days, while they had to stay back in the room. And after that, they said you'll be free citizens and you will be allowed to, live a normal life, which was very welcoming. If somebody in the middle of the pandemic told us you will be allowed to roam around without mask, or you will be going to have a coffee, have a normal life, we'll take it with both hands, and we were very excited. And we went through that 14 days and we lost the first test at Adelaide. Life was normal, everything was hunky-dory, Australians were happy, Indians not so much. And we went back to Melbourne. No one expected us to win. We won. Cases had risen suddenly. They said the cases are rising, you might have to go back into a bubble. They put cameras outside the team hotel. They were checking where we were going. I felt like, maybe it was right, maybe it was wrong, I don't know, but it felt like they were trying to come after us in a different way. And it was a new year, I spent the new year, we went to the cafe and all that, and there were cameras thronging us as to where we were going. It was starting to get a bit ugly. And then by the time we decided to go to Sydney, they said you'll all be in a bubble again in Sydney. And it was kind of mentally very, very disturbing. But as far as I was concerned, it was a special opportunity. So I could get on with it, but not so for the families. It was very hard in Sydney. Sydney, at least we were allowed to, step outside to a certain area and come back. But they said once you leave Sydney, you will go to Brisbane and you will go into a hard quarantine again. So it felt like they were coming at us in different ways, in any means possible. But that's how cricket is supposed to be. It's a tough cookie sport, and you need to be able to take what comes your way and be able to respond. Not every time will you be able to respond and come out victorious, but this was one of the occasions we managed to, and it's precisely why this happened.
And when I say your partnership with Vihari, what comes to mind now? What is the one thing?
It was communication, a lot of fun, I like people coming after me. I like people telling me that I can't. I don't know, for some reason it's been the case for a very, very long time in my life. People say I can't, I respond. People say I can't, I respond. And that's just been, sometimes people say I can, I find it hard to respond. I find it hard. So it has just been the way of my life. And some people have lives like that. And again, this was a series that most people around the world had written us off.
Exactly.
And we were here on the brink of, we drew the series. We could probably get to Gabba unscathed, at Sydney, and we were standing there in the middle of it. Both of us were injured. Jadeja was again injured, he was sitting inside. But something inside me told me that if we got through the first 10-15 balls, could get some resolve out, that we could go unscathed to Gabba. And it happened. We had great communication, Vihari and I. We were having a lot of fun actually.
And then you also had fun with Mr. Paine as well. And the banter is legendary now. That we've heard of. What happened after that? Did you meet him? Did you say something to him? You gave a befitting reply.
No, see, look, I think it was definitely not intended in the same manner. It was very instantaneous. It was not a response. It was a reaction. He said something which was clearly disturbing me, upsetting me, trying to dismantle what we were going through. I think because the keeper is standing so close up to a batter for a spinner, he probably realizes the amount of concentration and the thing that is going through the zone. They say the zone. He probably sensed that we were in the zone and we were onto something special, and he wanted to disrupt that. And the moment he said that, I reacted, and I actually told myself that should have not been done. Not for what I said, but I should have just stayed in my zone and continued batting. But somewhere down the line, once he said that, and I said that, we had a small discussion in the middle, Vihari and I focused even more harder. And I sort of think that it settled me into a zone that I've never been or found myself on a cricketing ground. And once the game got over, I remember the walk back. We took the stumps. I didn't know how to react. There were a lot of fans, who had just went berserk and mad. We didn't know what we had done. You don't know the magnitude of what you've achieved once for a while, for a long time. And still, till today, if I think back Sydney, us walking back, I can visualize that. Went back. I didn't go inside the dressing room. Sat outside in the members' stand, and I was just thinking, and my body was just going up and down and shaking. It was quite a surreal feeling.
I can imagine. And also your wife was tweeting, and I have went through her tweets. They made me smile too, especially during the sledging. She said, I don't know whether to react as a wife, as a fan. Fine, I'll keep mum. I'll just, just mute cricket. But is family support, does that also help?
Absolutely. Look, family support, when I say family support, doesn't end with my wife and kids alone. My kids are growing up, they're getting to know the game. This year at the IPL, they were a lot more vociferous. They understood the game a lot better. My parents, when a cricketer is going out there and playing, there is a lot of people that have contributed, but nobody quite understands the amount of trauma that the family goes through. Every single game, there is trauma. Every single game, my parents get hounded by calls. If it goes right, they get appreciation. If it doesn't go right, they get hounded by calls. There is a lot of trauma that they go through. And quietly, I'm trying to settle it down. I go back now, I tell my dad, and my dad has learned to chill out a little bit. But the family contribution is immense, especially in times where you're inside a bubble and you're playing cricket in another country, and all you have is only your family to go back to on those four walls. And you can't, even if you had a bad day, you can't really walk out for a dinner or a meal or something. It can be excruciatingly painful. Putting all that aside, managing the kids who have a bundle of energy, and managing parents back home, and managing us, our emotions, our requirements. My wife has been quite a super lady over the last couple of years.
I totally get that. And before we wrap up, with the series going down the line, a lot of fans want to know, would you compare it to the Ashes, or should we compare it to it?
I think it should be named the Ashes too. I think Australia and India have had fair square of battles in the last decade. I played like 4 or 5 Border-Gavaskar Trophy. I'm not exactly sure. Every series has been worth watching and worth playing. I definitely think it needs to be a marquee series, and it is already a marquee series. So it should be named the Ashes too. And maybe I can go and, you know how the Ashes work, right? They burnt the bales. That's how the Ashes formed. So maybe we can burn one the next time.
Looking forward to that. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure speaking to you. Many more innings to you, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much.